Hi, so in this video, I'm going to be explaining about stories on how I have failed on replacing the tire on my electric bike. So, there's been a few times where I've tried to put the tire on, but I've either bought the wrong size tube and it didn't fit directly into the spot where the tire is. Um, so recently, this last time I changed it, um, one example of something I did wrong was after I had taken the tube off and had placed the new tube in, I was using tire pry tools um, that were probably not the right ones because they ended up breaking. Um, and that made it really hard to get the tire put on. I ended up finding another one that I used, but it was really hard to get it on, mainly because the tube was just a little bit too big. So tube sizes are on most bikes, but especially on electric bikes, are um, you need to be pretty precise. The size of mine are 23-inch tires, um, by 26 inches tall by 3 inches wide, and mine, and I couldn't find any that were that size, so I had to get one that was 23-inch or 26 inches tall by 3.5 inches wide, and so it was a little bit bigger than what it was supposed to be, and so because of that, it made putting the tire in the tube when it was put in harder to secure around the rim because it's bigger than what it's supposed to be. But I was able to figure it out and to get it put together. Um, but it did take longer. So, one thing I encourage you is make sure that when you're replacing a tube or a tire that you make sure it's the right size. Even if it may take a little longer to get the repair and to do it, it's really important because you can break things by trying to get things to work the way that they're supposed to. Um, so that's one story. Another one was I was fixing the um, tire and I had taken off the tire and the tube, um, and I'd almost finished. I'd got it lined up correctly, and everything. But then, as I was sliding it into the spot where it belongs, the I somehow pushed the brake portion and broke the brake portion. So when you're putting it back on, you want to be very gentle because things on the bike are really delicate. Um, we want to always be careful. We don't want to hurry, which is what I was doing because I was trying to leave to go somewhere, um, and I just wanted it fixed. I didn't take the time, and I I pushed off the rear disc brake pad, um, so it took even more time to put that back on than it would have if I would have been careful and just gently aligned it into the holes where it's designed to be. Also, on that same one, I realized that when I got on the bike was overflated and it was bumpy. It was a bumpy ride, so on the sides of the tires for when you get it put back on the bike. There's how much pressure you're supposed to put on it, and my bike is between 25 and 30 psi. I had it at 40, so it's really bumpy. So you want to make sure and measure and make sure it's the right psi so your ride is actually comfortable. Um, is comfortable. You don't want bumpiness because you over pumped it, and it also has the ability to pop more easily when it's has more air than it needs. Another time, I was so I lifted up the bike, flipped it over to to try and get the tire off, and I it's a heavy bike, so I lifted it up too fast and kind of on it, dropped it going backwards, and it kind of broke the speedometer display. I was able to tape it and get it to work, but you really, really just want to be really delicate, especially on an electric bike where there's electrical components that can be damaged way too easily. Way too easily. So, to this day, I still haven't bought a new portion, so it's still just taped onto the bike. Um, that's how well, that's one thing I broke. So it's really just a matter of taking your time, making sure that the tube is all the way inside the tire, and that the tire is all the way wrapped around the rim of the tube. That um, there's nothing exposed at all um, on the rim, because if that happens, the bike can, when you get going, the tire can fall off, or the tube gets pushed into the rim and damages the new tube you put in. So you really just want to make sure it's all sorry, it's all perfect, and that um, it's just really smooth when it's put back on the tire. And also, uh, one time I forgot to tighten the nuts that are on either side of the of the tire that's secured on um, to the frame of the bike, and I started riding, and the complete back tire came off because I didn't um, wrench it tight like I should have. So it's really just important to just, once you have thought you've finished, that you double check everything and make sure it's right and done perfect before getting on it and riding it, you because what I did, I mean, thank goodness I wasn't going fast. I was probably going 4 miles an hour. But if it had been on tighter or something and I was going 20, I mean, that could have thrown me off the bike, and I could have gotten really hurt, and which is not good, or broke the bike in a way that I may have not been able to fix because I didn't double check my work. But I mean, overall, it's really pretty simple. You uh, just gotta make sure that everything is lined up on the rim, and that when you put it on the tire, it's lined up straight, and that the nuts on both sides of the tire are fully tightened down, and also that the cord that connects the battery to the motor hub on the back wheel is connected so that you'll have power. But really, it's pretty simple and easy. You just gotta make sure to pay attention and know what you're doing, and to have the right tools. Because I had a pry tool that was bent, but I thought it was okay. But it was bent, and I used it, and it snapped. And thank goodness it wasn't in the tire fully, because it could have punctured the tire or the tube, and there would have gone the tube that I had just put on. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's stories that have happened to me while replacing the tube or tire on my electric bike.